Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is part two of the three-part series on WebSphere modernization. This part is going to touch on the Liberty development and what that sort of looks like. Essentially, taking your source code and some of the migration files like the Docker file and the Maven file that TA provides, using that to make the necessary changes that are needed, containerizing it, and then pushing it out to OpenShift. So in this portion of the demo, what you're going to see me do is I'm going to sort of take on the role of a software developer, and I'm going to show you how easy and efficient, cloud native development can be with Liberty, and how easy cloud native deployment can also be using OpenShift. So I'm just gonna be using a generic application that's on my machine, right? This isn't an application that has been through TA, and these aren't migration files that I've gotten, but the process that I'm going to be going through is pretty similar to what a developer would also go through, right? You're going to see me using Maven files and Docker files and things like that, and things that TA will also give you. So like I said, in this demo, I'm just going to be, my job is essentially just to create a simple Java microservice and then push it to my team's OpenShift dev environment. So first things first, I'm going to show you the sample application that I have created, and we're going to test and run it on my local machine using Liberty. Then I'm going to make both some configuration and source code changes to the application. And what we'll see is that Liberty is going to instantly pick up on these changes without needing me to restart the server or anything like that, right? And as a developer, this is something I love because this is going to save me loads of time when it comes to testing, right? Making me a lot more efficient. And then lastly, I'm going to containerize this local application and then deploy it to OpenShift using the OpenShift UI. And we'll see how straightforward that process can be. All right, so let's get right into that. So here's my application. Right, like I mentioned, it's just a simple Java microservice. And all it does is it displays the system properties of my laptop when I visit the appropriate endpoint. And let's just quickly run through some of the files that are here. So, we have our main Java files right here. We have our server.xml file, which is our Liberty configuration file. We have some front end components right here. There's this HTML component. We also have a Maven file, which we're going to be using to package our application, and then a Docker file to containerize our application later on. So let's actually go ahead and run this application. And I'm going to be running it in Liberty dev mode. And the reason for that is because once I save, the changes that I make to my application, Liberty is instantly going to notice these changes within my project, including, any application source code changes or configuration changes. And it will, automatically reload my application without needing me to restart the server. So we can see that the server is already up and running. That was extremely quick. And we're just gonna head to the browser right here. Sorry about that. And here's our application, right? It's up and running. It shows us the system properties of our machines, like I said, right? So now let's say I just wanted to check the health of this microservice, right? Just to see that, everything is up and running, my server is up and running, my application is up and running. So we can quickly just go ahead and do that. And okay, so it looks like I haven't implemented any health checks within my application. So let's just go ahead and quickly do that. So first things first, in this server configuration file, I'm just going to enable this micro profile health feature. And then within our main sort of files, I'm going to add both a system liveness check and a system readiness check to my application. So these sort of count as me making some configuration changes. Sorry, some source code changes. So I'm going to go ahead and comment both of these out, and then we're going to go ahead and save all the changes that I've made. Right. And again, right, we see that TA instantly picks up on my changes. Right, it's included the new features that I added within my server configuration file, and my application is now up and running. As you can see right here, this is a new feature that was installed that previously wasn't in the last test that we ran. So now if we go back to the browser and reload this, we hopefully should see we do have some information about the health of our application. And if we wanted to check specifically the system readiness and system liveness endpoints, we could also do that like so. Okay, so now we're done making changes to our application, and we're ready to sort of push this application to OpenShift. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this server, and I'm going to just run a couple of commands. So first things first, I'm just going to package the application using Maven, and then I'm going to containerize the application using Docker, and then we're going to push the container image that Docker gives me to the OpenShift's internal image registry, and then from there we'll use the OpenShift UI to deploy the application straight from the OpenShift image registry. So let's just go ahead and do that. And if we actually go ahead and do a Docker images, we can see our newly created application right here. Let me just put this right there. So as you can see, right, video demo with the tag 1.0. So now we have our Docker image. So we can go ahead and push this image to the OpenShift image registry, the internal image registry. So I'm actually just going to use this command that I already have right here, just because it's too long to type out. So, but all this is doing is it's tagging my my newly created image, and then we're going to push it to the image registry. And right as this is being done, right, I just want to take a second to explain. Right, this isn't necessarily the one way to go when it comes to deploying to OpenShift. Like I mentioned earlier, you could use a Kubernetes application deployment YAML file to also push the application to OpenShift. You could push your source code into some source code management repo such as GitHub, and then trigger some sort of CI/CD process that is eventually going to build and deploy the application to OpenShift. Right? There are many different routes you can go about this, but this is just what I'm doing for this specific demo. So let's actually head into our OpenShift cluster. We're working in this project called Demo Video Project, and we actually already have the Open Liberty operator installed. So I'm actually going to go back into the development mode, and now we can go ahead and deploy our application. I'm just going to choose this container. We're going to deploy it from the internal image registry. And here's our newly pushed image with the tag. I'm just going to keep everything as default here. And we're going to create a route because we want to expose this to the world. So we'll go ahead and create this application. OpenShift is going to go ahead and do its thing. It's going to create some pods, create some services, and create some routes for us. Looks like our application is actually already up and running. But let's just take a second. We can just look at the logs also if we wanted to, right? We see that our server is up and running. It's good to go. So let's actually take a look at our application right here. And boom, here we go. Here's our application up and running within our OpenShift cluster. If we wanted to, again, check the health of our application, we can. If we wanted to check the liveness again, we could, right? So that's essentially how easy and efficient, deploying to OpenShift can be, right? You've seen me take, an application that was running on my local machine. I ran and tested it all on my local machine using Liberty. And then I was able to package, containerize, and push it up to OpenShift using just a couple of commands.